Every single Pokemon is someone's favorite. Even the ones you might not like are loved by somebody in the Pokemon community. Whether it's because of nostalgia or design, every Pokemon has at least one diehard fan. One of the most obvious reasons a Pokemon becomes someone's favorite: nostalgia. For a lot of us, our favorite Pokemon isn't about stats, design, or competitive viability. It's about memories. Maybe it was the first one you caught, or the starter that carried you through your entire first region. Someone out there loves Pidgey just because it was the first thing they ever caught. Another person's favorite might be, let's say, Glalie, because they watched Ashrays win in the anime. Another example of nostalgia is my favorite starter being Decidueye, since I chose Gerald in Pokemon Moon, my first ever official Pokemon game, and I have great memories using it. And my editor likes Troodon because it was one of the first Pokemon he was introduced to. Next up, there are the Pokemon that become favorites because almost nobody else likes them. The underdogs. Not every Pokemon needs to be strong or popular. Liking and defending Pokemon make people more attached to them. Sometimes it's because their design speaks to you in a way others don't see, or maybe you just feel bad for them because they're constantly overshadowed. Pokemon like Dunsparce, Stunfisk, or even Farfetch'd might seem like jokes to most people, but to their fans, they're charming and unique. Personally, I like Sableye since I've always had to defend it against people who don't like it. Because of that, I feel more attached to Sableye. Another reason a Pokemon becomes someone's favorite is simple: they're cute. And that's why so many people love Pokemon like Eevee, Pikachu, or Munchlax. But it's not just the obvious ones. Some fans fall for the weirdly cute Pokemon like Wooper, Swablu, or even Dratini. Some of my favorite Pokemon are Sandshrew and Psyduck since I find them really cute, even though others might not. Then there are the Pokemon that people love just because they're cool. Whether it's their sleek designs, intimidating presence, or straight up awesome battle potential, these Pokemon stand out to people. For some, it's the edgy, darker designs like Zoroark or Greninja. For others, it's the sheer strength and dominance of legendaries like Rayquaza or Mewtwo. And sometimes it's just about style. Pokemon that look sleek, fast, or mysterious like Absol or Escavalier earn fans who admire their vibe more than their stats. My favorite Pokemon of all time is Sandslash, and I also like Cacturne because I find them super cool and underrated, even though others might not feel the same. When a Pokemon dominates in battle, whether it's in a playthrough, online battles, or the competitive scene, it earns respect and recognition from fans everywhere. Pokemon like Garchomp, Landorus, and Tyranitar have built massive reputations not just for their designs, but because they're absolute powerhouses that consistently show up in tournaments and online matches. I love Chandelure since I've used it in Pokemon Showdown before and found it really powerful. After that, I've always had respect and love for Chandelure. Sometimes a Pokemon doesn't need great design, strong story moments, or competitive dominance to become a fan favorite. It just needs memes. Take the HM Slave Bidoof for example, or Wooper, or Surprise Pikachu, because why else would anybody like Pikachu? Honestly, if a Pokemon is derpy enough, you can make it into a meme. Watch me do it right now. For some fans, it's about past experiences. For example, catching a shiny is one of the most magical moments in any playthrough. That little sparkle turns an ordinary encounter into something unforgettable, and suddenly a Pokemon you might have ignored before becomes a prized teammate. Or maybe it's a starter that carried you through every battle, or an underdog on your team who you felt bad replacing, maybe even a Pokemon that came in clutch when you needed it most. I used to not care about Golbat or Crobat much until I got a shiny Full Odds Golbat in Pokemon Moon, so now I occasionally protect Crobat and Golbat when people criticize them. Sometimes a Pokemon becomes someone's favorite not because of the games, but because of how they were portrayed in the anime. Ash's Charizard, Team Rocket's Wobbuffet, Misty's Psyduck. Sometimes the anime gives these Pokemon more personality than the games ever could, and that draws people in. Honestly, Psyduck was my favorite Pokemon since I was 6 years old, and part of the reason was Misty's silly Psyduck in the anime. If every Pokemon is someone's favorite, that also means every Pokemon is someone's least favorite. And let's be honest, we've all got one. Maybe you can't stand Trubbish because it's a literal trash bag. Or maybe you hate Zubat because it ambushed you in a cave 9,000 times in one playthrough. People dislike fan favorites too, like Charizard because it's overrated. But that's what makes Pokemon so interesting. Your least favorite Pokemon might be someone else's favorite Pokemon, and vice versa. The same qualities that annoy one fan are the exact reasons another one loves that Pokemon. At the end of the day, every Pokemon has a fan and every Pokemon has a critic. It doesn't matter if the Pokemon is weak, weird, or completely overlooked. There's always a fan out there who will defend it to death. So who's your favorite Pokemon, and which do you literally hate? With over 1,000 creatures across generations, there's something for everyone. Whether you like the obvious legends or the weirdest oddballs, your favorite Pokemon is valid. So go ahead, love who you love, and you can dislike what you dislike. But remember, somewhere in the world, someone else is doing the exact same thing. Stay respectful, even if people disagree. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. Unless they like Crabominable. Ugh. If you enjoyed this video, you'd probably enjoy the time I give some Pokemon 3 types. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.